That's not included.
The board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Devote. Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanye. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys.
Here.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman Aldred. President Green.
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Tyus. We have 12 present.
A quorum being present, we will be led in an opening reflection by founder and CEO of the Sophia Project, Dawn Price.
Good morning. Let us pray. God, we come before you today with grateful hearts. We thank you for your young people, our city's brilliance, their resilience, their questions, their dreams, their becoming. We ask that you surround them with protection, guidance, and hope. Where there is uncertainty, give clarity, and where there is pain, bring healing. Where there is potential, provide opportunity and access. Today, we also give thanks for the mentors, service providers, educators, advocates, and community leaders who show up day after day, often quietly, often without recognition, to pour into the lives of our youth. Bless their hands for the work they do, their hearts for the compassion they carry, and their minds for the wisdom they share. During this National Mentoring Month, we celebrate service as a sacred work. We ask that you renew their strength of those who serve and expand their impact and remind them that their presence makes a difference. May our city continue to be a place where young people are seen, supported, and safe, where collaboration replaces competition, and where love and accountability and opportunity guide our decisions. We thank you for the chance to serve together, to lead with intention, and to build our future worthy of our youth. Amen.
Amen.
We will dispense with the regular order of business to take up the courtesy resolution calendar. Alderman from the 14th, are you doing the suspension of the rules? Okay. Alderman from the 14th, you are recognized on the motion to suspend the rules for the purposes of introducing resolutions 225, 226, 227, 228, 230, and 231.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move to suspend the rules and introduce resolution 225, 226, 227, 228, 230, and 231.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderman from the 5th, that we suspend the rules for the purposes of introducing resolutions 225, 226, 227, 228, 230, and 231. This is a non-debatable motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Devote. Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanye. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Pass.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Could I ask a question?
Not during, now, yeah, we can
hear us?
Sorry. Yes, I can hear you. We can't.
Okay. Aye.
Okay.
Alderman Aldred. President Green.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. I'm sorry, Alderwoman Tyus.
Pass.
You can't pass.
13 aye votes.
Sorry, I didn't. I votes. Okay. By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderman from the 14th. If you could please place the aforementioned resolutions at the end of the courtesy resolution calendar.
So noted.
And with that, I would like to ask that for the presentation of Resolution 227, if we could have all of our special guests please approach the dais. Come on up. Good morning. Good morning. Madam Clerk, could you please read the resolution?
Resolution number 227, honoring mentoring organizations. Whereas mentoring plays a vital role in the personal, academic, and social development of young people by providing guidance, encouragement, and positive role models. And whereas National Mentoring Month, observed each January, recognizes the power of mentoring relationships to strengthen families, schools, and communities. And whereas effective mentoring contributes to improved academic achievement, increased self-esteem, positive decision-making, and long-term success for young people. And whereas the City of St. Louis is home to dedicated mentoring organizations that are committed to uplifting youth through leadership development, academic enrichment, social emotional support, and community engagement, including the Sophia Project Incorporation, Dream Builders, Gentlemen of Vision, the Village Black Girls Do STEM, Mentors in Motion, Saturday Boys Academy, and Shira. And whereas the organizations exemplify collaboration, service, and commitment by investing in the growth, character, and future of young people throughout the St. Louis region. And whereas the mentors, volunteers, and leaders within these organizations serve as trusted guides and advocates, helping youth navigate challenges and realize their full potential. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Louis that we pause in our deliberation to recognize, honor, celebrate, and thank our local mentoring organizations for their service and impact to the City of St. Louis. We further direct the clerk of this Board of Aldermen to spread a copy of this resolution across the minutes of these proceedings and to prepare a commemorative copy that it may be presented by the sponsor. Introduced this 30th day of January 2026 by the Honorable Shameen Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman, 10th Ward. Adopted this 30th day of January 2026 as attested by.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Thank you, President Green. Board of Aldermen, this resolution doesn't need a lot of narration to it. After we've read that and we know the work, many of us down here, I'm sure, have probably benefited from the value, the immeasurable value and impact of mentorship. And as a mother and a grandmother, I absolutely know the value of mentorship because, listen, it's some things that child can say that the parents can say, and they only listen to when you all say it. So thank you all for your work, for your service, not just to youth in the city of St. Louis, and we have this unique way to honor you as the Board of Aldermen, but I know these organizations, the impact reaches far beyond. And if there's ever anything that I can do, I'm in my position to support you all, you know I will. Thank you.
Good morning again. I just want to say thank you to the City of St. Louis for their continuous support of all of our organizations. I really wanted to take a moment to honor all of these organizations who have diligently been working for years, some more than a decade up here. I think the two men part of the Saturday Boys Academy have been working for the last 40 years on the West Side, serving our young people. And I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate the service and re-synergize everyone during National Mentoring Month. So thank you and thank you.
Come on up, Byron. We're going to share this. On behalf of Saturday Boys Academy, I just want to thank you for this information, and this is a proclamation or resolution. Resolution today for Saturday Boys Academy. We're celebrating 40 years of mentoring within this region. We've seen young men come from 5 to 18 years old, seen them grow up, go on into leadership, and we're proud and happy to say that we've been a vital part of this community. Want to say anything, Byron?
Yeah, I'm the old man in the group. I'm 69, started helping young people when I was 29. So I'm proud to say I'm on with my grandchildren. My grandsons are now a part of Saturday Boys Academy. So my sons were, now they gone and grown. And then my grandsons, who are 6 and 8, just started a couple of months ago. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 8th.
President, I just wanted to take a moment to echo the Alderwoman from the 10th ward and say thank you for all that you do, especially pouring into our young people in our community. I personally understand the importance of these types of programs. I was a product of these types of programs. My husband has been a mentor with helping the young men in Saturday Morning with the village, and I know that the work that the Boys Academy has been a part of. So I just want to echo the testimony that this is really, really essential to building in the next generations of St. Louisans that are going to continue to be great contributors to our community, and I want to thank you again for all that you all do.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Somebody maybe want to make a motion to make this in bank. Alderwoman from the 8th, I'm looking at you.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I completely forgot. I would like to move to make this resolution in bank today.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 8th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 1st, that we make resolution 227 in bank. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So resolution 227 has now been embanked, which means that every member of the Board of Aldermen has signed on as a co-sponsoring board. And at this time, I'd like to really thank you for all of the wonderful, important work that you do in the city of St. Louis to support our youth, and would like to ask if we could all gather on the steps over here so that we could get a picture with members of the Board of Aldermen. I stand at the back, so go right ahead.
I'll get it to you today.
If you call that an athlete. All right, all right.
Okay. Okay, there she is.
Is there a resolution already?
If this time, Alderwoman from the 10th would like to reapproach the dais with your honored guests. Ms. Teresa, please come up. Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution number 225, honoring Teresa Ernst. Whereas it has come to the attention of this honorable Board of Aldermen of the retirement of colleague Mrs. Teresa Ernst. And whereas Teresa graduated from St. Elizabeth Academy in 1977 and began her career with the City of St. Louis in 1979 with the Recorder of Deeds office, where she served until 1986. After that, she enjoyed the blessings of motherhood until 1995. And whereas Teresa then went on to work for the Wester Grove School District and then the St. Louis County Special School District until starting with the St. Louis City Board of Aldermen in 2006. As a receptionist and continued her dedication in her current position as Executive Secretary. And whereas Teresa has devoted 47 years of dedicated service to the City of St. Louis, demonstrating commitment, professionalism, and integrity throughout her career. Known for her quiet strength and behind-the-scenes excellence, she approached work with care, precision, and willingness to step in whenever needed. And whereas Teresa provided invaluable administrative support to many aldermen, including Alderman Joe Vaccaro, Alderwoman Carol Howard, Alderwoman Shameen Clark-Hubbard, Alderman Rasheen Aldrich, and former Alderwoman Mayor Kara Spencer, just to name a few, earning their trust and respect through her dependability and institutional knowledge. And whereas beyond her secretarial duties, Teresa was also known for delicious meals such as Mississippi pot roast, large sandwiches from Mom's Deli, cakes from Fedhofer's Bakery, and an assortment of desserts that brought the office together and made work days a little brighter. And whereas Teresa married Mr. Rick Ernst in October of 2021 and is the loving mother of Aaron Chambers Scooch, Todd Chambers, and Danny Chambers, and proud grandmother of Teddy, Aiden, and Zoe. And whereas during her retirement, Teresa plans to read more, volunteer, and dotingly spend more time with her grandchildren, as well as enjoy travel plans with her husband to their favorite place, Sanibel Island, Florida, and discover new places along the way. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen for the City of St. Louis that we pause in our deliberations to recognize, honor, thank, and celebrate Mrs. Teresa Ernst and wish her Godspeed in her retirement journey. We further direct the clerk of this Board of Aldermen to spread a copy of this resolution across the minutes of these proceedings and prepare a commemorative copy to the end that it may be presented to Teresa Ernst on January 30th, 2026 by the sponsor introduced this 30th day of January 30th, 2026 by the Honorable Shameen Clark-Hubbard, Alderwoman of the 10th Ward. Co-sponsors Honorable Laura Keys, Jamie Cox Antwi, Alicia Sanye, Matt Devote, Michael Browning, and Pam Boyd, and the Honorable Tom Odenberg. Adopted this 30th day of January 2026 as attested by.
Yes, standing ovation. Yes, you deserve it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I'm going to start my own comments off. I make the motion that we move this resolution back.
Second.
All in favor? No.
All in favor signify by.
Point of order. Point of order.
Alderwoman from the 12th. State your point of order.
Motions. Thank you. Motions are not to be made from the dais. Someone from the floor has to
You
make
are
that motion.
you are correct.
Correct.
We will ask for a motion from the floor. It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we make Resolution 225 in bank. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Absolutely. In my excitement, Teresa, you know I would have ran to any mic on the floor to make the resolution in bank for you. Teresa, thank you. We know here the role that again, immeasurable role that our staff as a whole plays, but we know that the interfacing that our secretaries do is even different from the broader staff. And so thank you for your patience and your attention that you paid in the time that we spent together. Thank you for the quiet conversations that we have had. I am rooting for now the trips that you all will have, the love that you all will continue to share, the blessing of being able to enjoy your children and your grandchildren. And you know, I'm going to say it, I keep saying don't leave me, but what I will say is whenever you need me, if there's ever anything I can do for you from wherever you are, please don't hesitate to call.
Any further discussion? Alderman from the 5th.
Teresa, I am also one of those aldermen who worked with, and I can say over the last 10 months or so, there hasn't been a time that I've walked in the building and we've crossed paths, you didn't have a wonderful, huge smile on your face. And that's one of those things that makes coming down here so enjoyable. So thank you. I also want to thank you for the education and the instruction, and even more than that, the patience. The retirement is well earned. Blessings to you and to Rick. Thank you for your service.
Alderwoman from the 1st.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I also want to add my well wishes on retirement. I have an office right across the hall from you, so when I come down here and you're on the phone with a constituent, I can tell how much care you're putting into that. I think our goal here, all of our goal, is to provide the best possible services to the people of St. Louis, and you've been doing that for so long. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of me and all of my constituents that you have talked to at different times, and everyone down here. I know that we really appreciate having that, that frontline person who can do the work every day to make, the city services delivered that much better. So thank you. I really appreciate all the time you've put in. And I do think you should say something to us. You might regret it at one point, not addressing the group. I know it's a lot, but I think you could do it. So just thank you for all you do and really appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Madam President. Teresa, I just want to echo everything my colleagues have said. Even though our time together was short, I had the joy of getting to work with you as my secretary for the 8th as well. And as Alderman Devotie mentioned, being a brand new person to this body, to this room, it was just really great to have your wisdom and your patience and your support as I got to learn the role. And so I'm very glad that you were the secretary that I got to work with to help shepherd me in as a new alderman on this floor. And again, you've just truly, truly been a joy to work with, and I'm glad to have gotten to know you, and this is a well-deserved retirement for you.
Alderwoman from the 11th.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members of the board. Teresa, I think everybody said just about everything, so I will simply say thank you. Thank you for your service to our board and to me personally. It was wonderful having you as my secretary for the time that I finished the term for the 21st ward and then into the 11th. I appreciate your service so much. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, Teresa, you were never my full-time secretary, but often when secretary was missing, you were the person who had to step in. You never had any problems with trying to help people. You always was in a good mood and pleasant. And I want to say the addition of Mr. Ernst as your husband was a great thing for the city. I already knew him in his position with the city, but you two make a fabulous couple. I want to congratulate you and thank you. I would also encourage you I know you're quiet and behind the scenes person, but this is just your one little time that you get a chance to step up to that mic. So I would encourage you to do that. And even Rick, if he wants to say something, because again, you are a fabulous couple, quiet storm, a person who is very professional, tries to get her work done. I appreciate the time you spent with the city. And have a great retirement. And I think you two will, because I think you make a great couple. And I've watched your romance over the years, so I feel like I'm part of that family. Thank you so much.
Alderman from the 3rd.
Thank you, Madam President. Teresa, you were my second secretary, but actually I always think of you as my first. When I first came down to the Board of Aldermen, my first secretary didn't last long. All of the newer alder people, get kind of the last pick of secretaries. For those of you that are watching that might not be familiar with our rules and processes, but so myself, Antonio French, and some others ended up with a secretary who I think might have been with the board for 6 or 8 months after we got elected. And then we got to select from, the available secretaries at the time. And you were my first pick. And part of that, I don't know if you remember this or not, but you were working with my predecessor, Dorothy Kerner. And so you were already very familiar with the residents in the 25th Ward and their needs and who they were and what they did and, who called in the most. And you helped me in my first term hit the ground running. And I will forever be grateful for that. And just so thankful for your time here at the Board of Aldermen. And I can't wish you, congratulations enough, and all my best wishes on your future endeavors and the next chapter in life with Rick. And I will echo the sentiments of my colleague from the 12th Ward. It was very cool watching you guys develop in your relationship down here at City Hall. And it certainly helped with some of the facilities requests that we have as a board as well. So I do want to express my appreciation to Rick as well. But Teresa, very well deserved, and thank you for all of your time down here at the Board of Aldermen.
Alderwoman from the 7th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I would never pass up on an opportunity to thank our hardworking staff. I would echo it. Ms. Teresa, you have not officially been my secretary, but I think one of the most beautiful things about our staff is that every one of you are always so willing to help out. I don't ever ask for anything or need anything, and someone's not happy to step in the gap. And a couple of times, Ms. Teresa, you have definitely stepped in the gap, and I would say especially in the beginning when I was newer and trying to get the hang of who to call or who to go for what or what to do. You always had a smile on your face. You would be happy to sit with me as I made calls to figure out who it was. And so I just really appreciate your work, but also your spirit, your smile, times where I might have been stressed, overwhelmed, again, especially in the beginning when I'm trying to figure out, you were always so calm and very clear of like, hey, this is something your secretary can help you with. This is who you can call for these things. And just always was very patient and happy. And I just really appreciate your energy and your spirit and your service to us. And I have thoroughly enjoyed my time working with you.
Alderwoman from the 6th.
Thank you, Madam President. Teresa, I just want to echo, I think, what my colleague from the 12th said. I know you filled in for me on a few occasions, and we had some great conversations about your family, and I'm so excited that you're going to get to spend more time with them. And I know the work here isn't always easy or sometimes doesn't make sense, but I appreciate the enthusiasm and care in which you helped us all.
Any further discussion? Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Teresa, I just want to thank you for your years of service. You were my first executive secretary when we reduced from 28 to 14, and you was extremely helpful with me in the process of being a new alder. You created a wonderful spreadsheet of when people call to be able to track that. You connected me to different departments, and you were just always very quiet, but always very sweet and very kind and very helpful. So I just want to wish you a well retirement, and hopefully you'll come back maybe on a part-time basis because your knowledge is extremely needed down at the Board of Aldermen. So thank you so much.
Any further discussion? One last opportunity to come to the mic. No. Not a problem. With that, we want to thank you so much for your years and years and years of service and dedication to the Board of Aldermen and helping and mentoring so many folks as they come into their positions as alder and helping everybody figure out who to go to, what to talk to, where the bathrooms are, all the things that we need to be successful. And so congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. And at this time, I would love to ask you and the full board to go to the steps so we can get a picture.
Just for a second.
That was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I need to.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt the courtesy resolution consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the courtesy resolution consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 1st, that we adopt the courtesy resolution consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of honored guests. Any introduction of honored guests? Any introduction of honored guests? All right, seeing none. Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the approval of the minutes from Friday, January 23rd, 2026.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we approve the minutes from Friday, January 23rd, 2026.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we approve the minutes from Friday, January 23rd, 2026. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials, C and D of the agenda, and a copy has been placed in the Google Drive for review.
Does anyone wish to take any bills or resolutions off of any of our informal calendars? Alderman from the 3rd.
Hello? There we go. Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to take Board Bill 25, Committee Substitute as amended in committee, off of the informal calendar for Board Bills for Perfection.
Madam Clerk, if you could please place Board Bill 25 committee substitute as amended in committee on the regular perfection calendar.
So noted.
Does anyone else wish to take any bills or resolutions off of any of our informal calendars? Seeing none, first reading of board bills.
Board Bill number 131, introduced by Alderwoman Cox Antwi, an ordinance providing for the execution and delivery of an amendment to corporation agreement by and among the City of St. Louis, Gateway Foundation, and Terrace View Incorporation, amending a corporation agreement with regard to the urban garden within the Gateway Mall and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill number 132, introduced by Alderwoman Cox Antwi, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service authorizing and directing the mayor and comptroller of the City of St. Louis to execute a quitclaim deed vacating right-of-way and quitclaiming all of the City of St. Louis interests in the property, improvements, and easements for the MacArthur Bridge approaching in Illinois, dissolving the Municipal Bridge Commission and containing a severability clause. Board Bill number 133, introduced by Alderwoman Boyd, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing the Commissioner of the Department of Health or her designee on behalf of the City of St. Louis to enter into FEMA Crisis Counseling Program consulting agreement and to accept funds awarded, appropriating said funds in the amount of up to $78,253.60, authorizing the Department of Health to expend the appropriated funds for allowed purposes and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill number 134, introduced by Alderwoman Schweitzer, an ordinance amending Ordinance 72059, adopting the Forestry Division's regulation relating to weeds, native plants, and other vegetation in the City of St. Louis, containing definitions, reporting, abatement, severability, emergency clauses, for the purpose of clarifying regulations for abatement on occupied and non-occupied parcels. Board Bill number 135, introduced by Alderwoman Schweitzer, pursuant to Ordinance number 70333, as amended by Ordinance number 71394, an ordinance directing the Director of Streets to install speed humps to calm the flow of traffic in the First Ward. Board Bill number 136, introduced by Alderman Aldrich, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate above surface, subsurface rights for vehicle, equestrian, and pedestrian travel in a portion of 1 Elliott Avenue from St. Louis Avenue to Montgomery Street, 2 Montgomery Street from Jefferson Avenue to Elliott Avenue, and 3 the 20-foot wide east-west alley beginning at Elliott Avenue and extending eastwardly 259.99 feet to a point in City Block 2365 as bounded by St. Louis Avenue, Jefferson Avenue, Montgomery Street, and Elliott Avenue in the City of St. Louis, Missouri, and hereafter described in accordance with Charter Authority and conformity with Section 14 of Article 21 of the Charter and imposing certain conditions on such vacation. Board Bill 137, introduced by Alderman Devote and President Green and Alderman Velasquez, an ordinance submitting to the qualified voters of the City of St. Louis the question of whether to amend the City of St. Louis Charter to modernize language describing city departments, divisions, and other organizations to provide for modern methods of the advertisement and publication, to delete obsolete references to Missouri statute and delete obsolete references to the city departments, divisions, or other organizations, to revise references to pay scale to replace pronouns with specific title references, and to standardize capitalization of titles and uniform formatting of numbers, providing for an election to be held for voting on the proposed amendment, for the manner of voting and the publication, certification, deposit, and recording of this ordinance and containing an emergency clause. That is the extent of first reading of board bills.
Reference to committee of board bills.
To the HUDs. Board Bill 131, 132. To the Health and Human Development, Board Bill 133, 134. Public Infrastructure, Board Bill 135, 136. And Legislation and Rules, Board Bill 137, that exist in a reference to committee of board bills.
Second reading and report of standing committees.
The following board bills passed out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Out of the Public Infrastructure, Board Bill 99, introduced by Alderwoman Sanye, an ordinance establishing a three-way stop site at the intersection of Shenandoah Avenue and Virginia Avenue in the Tower Grove East neighborhood in the 7th Ward to regulate traffic traveling in all directions and containing an emergency clause. Out of Public Infrastructure, Board Bill number 130, introduced by Alderman Browning, pursuant to ordinance number 70333, as amended by ordinance number 71394, an ordinance directing the Director of Streets to install speed humps to calm the flow of traffic on various blocks in the 9th Ward. That is the extent of second reading and report of standing committees.
Report of special committees.
We have none.
Can dispense with line item 15, board bills for perfection consent.
Board Bill number 87 as amended by Alderman Aldrich, President Green, Mayor Spencer, Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderwoman Keys, Alderman Browning, Alderwoman Sanye, and Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. An ordinance amending ordinance number 70846 to modify required terms of the corporation agreement with the land reutilization terms of the, with the Land Reutilization Authority to manage the Prop NS program, which uses funds raised through general obligation bonds, the caps on the amounts of bond proceeds available per property for future bond insurances and requiring consumer price index adjustments to such caps, including severability and emergency clause. Board Bill number 114, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. The bill directs the Director of Streets to install speed humps pursuant to ordinance number 70333, as amended by ordinance number 71394, to calm the flow of traffic on the 5900 block of Kingsbury Avenue. Board Bill number 125, introduced by Alderman Aldrich, President Green, Mayor Spencer, Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderwoman Keys, Alderman Browning, Alderwoman Sanye, and Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. An ordinance authorizing a first amended and restated corporation agreement as authorized by ordinance number 70956 and superseding provisions of prior corporation agreements between the city and the identified parties to the extent inconsistent with the terms thereof and containing a severability and emergency clause. Board Bill number 127, introduced by Alderman Aldrich, an ordinance approving a petition to terminate the Syndicate Trust Community Improvement District, approving the appointment of the Board of Directors and containing severability and emergency clauses. An ordinance approving a petition to terminate the Syndicate Trust Community Improvement District, the CID, approving the appointment of the Board of Directors and containing severability and emergency clauses. That is the extent of board bills for perfection.
Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, if you would remove Board Bill 87 as amended from the perfection consent calendar and place it on the perfection calendar, please.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
So noted.
That Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt the board bills for the perfection consent calendar. Alderwoman from the 10th. Board bills for the perfection consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the board bills for perfection consent calendar.
Is there a second? It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 8th, that we adopt the board bills for the perfection consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Board bills for perfection.
Board Bill number 87. That is the extent of board bills for perfection. And Board Bill 25, committee substitute as amended in committee.
Madam Clerk, you need to read Board Bill 87 as amended.
Board Bill number 87 as amended, introduced by Alderman Aldrich, President Green, Mayor Spencer, Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Schweitzer, Alderwoman Keys, Alderman Browning, Alderwoman Sanye, and Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. An ordinance amending ordinance number 70846 to modify required terms of the corporation agreement with the Land Utilization Authority to manage the Prop NS program, which uses funds raised through general obligation bonds, adjusting the caps on the amounts of bonds proceeds available per property for future bond insurances, and requiring consumer price index adjustments to such caps, including severability and emergency clause.
Alderman from the 14th, you are recognized on the perfection of Board Bill 87 as amended.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I move to perfect Board Bill 87 as amended.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 8th, that we perfect Board Bill 87 as amended. Alderman, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I want to thank all the members who also signed on as a co-sponsor, including yourself, Madam President, and Mayor Spencer, and members of the HUD's committee. Board Bill 87 as amended is only touching Section 3 of the previous Prop NS ordinance that originally was 70846. And it's doing three main things to try to make this program a little better. The first thing that we're doing with the change of Section 3 of the former Prop NS bills, we're changing the structures per property calculation from single and multifamily based to square footage. One of the issues that we're talking with the Prop S department that runs this is they learned that all single families and multifamily houses aren't necessarily the same. So by changing this to square footage, it gives the city a little bit more ability to have more powers when it comes to increasing the bond rates on these properties. The second change that is also that we're doing to the Prop S and the Prop NS bill is we're adjusting the caps based on consumer price index. So this will be tied to inflation. So as inflation continues to increase, construction costs and other particular costs that comes with the process of constructing these properties will also be tied to that. The last thing that we're doing to upgrade this legislation is we're expanding the scope of work, allowability under the, we're expanding the scope of work to allow plumbing and sewer construction and additional interior demolition. So we're allowing more work to be done on some of these Prop NS. Some of the things that came out of Prop NS programs that they said a lot of people that was buying these Prop NS is while they was restoring some of the functions of these properties in the city of St. Louis, one of the biggest costs was plumbing and sewer. So we're adding that to the scope as well as more interior demo could be added so that as these buildings are trying to come online, it gives the ability for the city to expand the scope of work. It gives the city a little bit higher cap so that they could put in more money to stabilize these properties as well as make sure that it's tied to inflation. Most of the Prop NS properties are mainly in Ward 11, Ward 12, Ward 13, and Ward 14. And especially post-tornado, we really want to make sure that if some of these Prop NS properties are in the area that's been impacted by the tornado, that we are doing everything possible to ensure that the city is making sure we're putting more stake in the game to make sure that these properties are online. So with that, I would open up for any question. And then also, I just want to go on record, I also want to appreciate the support of SLDC and the Comptroller's Office as well for working on this legislation with the Board of Aldermen. I would open up for any questions, Madam President.
Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, I ask for this bill to be removed from perfection consent calendar. I fully intended to vote no because there are problems with Prop NS and LRA needs a complete investigation, a complete investigation. I've been dealing with LRA for a very long time, and we know that there was a problem when three members of our members of the Board of Aldermen got in trouble, and one of them was with LRA. The members went to jail, but there was no investigation of LRA. And it's not just then. It needs to go back for a while because there are many problems with them, including letting buildings that need to be demolished sit for decades in communities, running North St. Louis down, running the property values down, insulting the people who try to take care of them. Then when the last administration came in, they went from letting people buy side lots who had been taking care of them for years to all of a sudden saying that now they had to pay thousands of dollars for a side lot that LRA does not cut the grass, does not take care of it, does not do anything with it, but then wanted to charge them thousands and thousands of dollars. It's ridiculous. I actually every year since I've been in office, if any LRA properties I had, I drove my ward and I would turn in to LRA and to the city. These are the ones that need to be demolished. We never had any problem with that happening up until this last administration that is no longer there. Then we had a huge problem. They would not demolish the buildings. That is a devaluation of your property. If you're next to a vacant house, an LRA, and it's leaning over on your house, and we found this out with the tornado, it's leaning on your house and you're not taking care of it. So the agreement with LRA is part of the problem. The other problem is Prop NS itself. I did have occasion to speak to the mayor about my concerns. And so she's assured me, and I told her she knows they're valid, that they were going to look into it and we're going to have further conversation. And I do trust her to keep her word. She's done that with me as far as I'm concerned. And so I will just say Prop NS also has problems. And while we're going to give them more money, they need to have more oversight. We need to make sure the property is actually getting the work done. We know we had problems with private owners where building inspectors said that work was done was not. We have to have a oversight, and we have to make sure that we have the proper oversight so that when things are being done, said that they're being done, that they actually are being done. And also that we're putting money into correct buildings, because there's a problem with them putting money into buildings that I had asked for years to be demolished, and they're sitting there not being sold because they shouldn't have had the money put in there in the first place. And it's a waste of time and money to do that, and then you have it sit there. So I'm going to vote present because I understand the concept is that we do better, but better means that we have to have proper oversight. And we need an investigation of LRA because they have sold buildings to people they had no business selling to. They're sitting there in the community. They're back on the private market now. The people are not doing anything. But as I said before, the major problem I have with them is they do not demolish the buildings in a timely fashion. And they were provided money from the state. And I actually had to call State Senator Carla May on more than one occasion because under the prior administration, because the prior person who was at LRA, Lance Knuckles, I want to say your name, would not tear the buildings down and was out telling people we could save these buildings. And the people in the first ward then would say, but we asked the alderwoman to get these buildings tore down. And there was no way. I've been doing rehab for a lot of years, since 1979. When you don't have a roof and you don't have 3 walls, you're not going to put $400,000 in a shotgun building. And that's unrealistic with the budget that we have. And those buildings, as we have had a program of taking them down, has made the neighborhood safer and the people who live next door to it. And the ones that we didn't get to because of the interference from the prior mayoral administration, and particularly Lance Knuckles, is some of the ones that then ended up on people's houses in this tornado. And we are having to remove LRA properties from people's houses because of this tornado. And there ought to be, when we start talking about what we're going to do with this ARPA money that's still left over, the first thing should be to go up into North St. Louis, put millions of dollars, I told the former mayor this, I'll say it again, into demolishing buildings that cannot be saved. I am not talking about buildings that can be saved. I'm talking about private property, and I'm talking about particularly the LRA properties, demolishing them, because it does not give the neighborhood a chance when you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of buildings, and I would say thousands. I didn't have many LRA properties until I picked up the Ville and the Greater Ville and a greater portion of Wells Goodfellow neighborhoods. And it's overwhelming to have that many properties. I believe LRA has like 7,000 properties. And the alderwoman from the 13th is shaking her head because she knows this pain of dealing with it. So everybody thinks that, oh, this is so easy. Try dealing with these kind of problems, along with having the largest wards in the city and the most 14 neighborhoods, and trying to be on hands alderman. It is utterly ridiculous. We should never have gone to 14 wards. And if we did, we should have given people in the 13th and the 12th, we should get triple the staff, because I have 3 neighborhoods now. And that LRA property is not going to be done. I don't care how much money we add. We don't have that kind of money to do it because they shouldn't be rehabbed. And the ones that we have rehabbed and we have wasted our money, we should expose that and talk about that and not do that anymore. So I am voting present, but I am voting present because I believe that the mayor is going to investigate and make sure that this is a better program. But if not, I'll be back saying some other things about specifically what is going on with Prop NS and particularly LRA. Thank you.
Any further
I would say
discussion?
I'm asking for a roll call. Thank you.
Any further discussion? And Alderman from the 14th, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the committee. Also, I appreciate the comments from the Alderwoman from the 12th. I do think that, this is not a perfect program, and hopefully what the goal is of these changes is to make the program better. There's no additional money that will be going to Prop S. What we're doing is we're changing raising the per footage square foot cap, or we're raising the square feet so that more funds can go into it instead of just being limited to 30,000 and 50,000. So if it's under 100, or if it's under 1,500 square feet, it can go up to 50,000. If it's 1,500 square feet to 2,499 square feet, 650,000. And anything that's 2,500 square feet can go up to 80,000 with the bonds that are going on it. So we're not adding more money, but we're giving and making changes to the square footage so that more capital can go into upgrading a lot of these homes that at least can be saved, that are structurally salvageable. I know there's a lot of properties that are not. Again, the second thing that is being done to this section of the bill is we're tying it to inflation so that as construction costs goes up, those costs will also be tied into the bonds that go into the properties, as well as expanding the scope of work so that more work can be done. I have had the opportunity at least to see a Prop NS house be done off Bremen and roughly Blair in my neighborhood, where they was able to salvage and save the property. And now we're working to actually get somebody to expand on that development. And we got some potential prospects of people that want to take this property and actually finish it up and move somebody into it. So hopefully, I think what these changes are trying to do, again, is to make the program better. It's definitely not perfect, and always look forward to working with other colleagues to make it better. But with that, I renew my motion and ask for Board Bill 87 as amended to be perfected.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 8th, that we perfect Board Bill 87 as amended. There's been a request for roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg. Aye. Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Aye. Alderman Devoti. Alderwoman Velasquez. Aye. Alderwoman Sanye.
Aye.
Alderwoman Cox-Antwi.
Aye.
Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd.
Muted, Alderwoman Tyus. No.
Alderwoman Tyus said no.
No, I said no.
I'm sorry.
A boy said no. I told Tyus she was on mute.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
12 aye votes, 1 no, 2 present.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderman from the 14th to perfect Board Bill 87 as amended.
Board Bill number 25 as amended in committee, introduced by Alderman Cone and President Green, an ordinance amending Title 18 Airports and Aviation Code of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis to add a new chapter pertaining to rental car operations at St. Louis Lambert International Airport and containing a severability clause.
Alderman from the 3rd, you're recognized on Board Bill 25 as amended in committee.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move that we refer Board Bill 25 committee substitute as amended in committee back to the Transportation and Commerce Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by the Alderman from the 3rd, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we refer Board Bill 25 as amended in committee back to the Transportation and Commerce Committee. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
3 and 7. That is the extent of board bills for
Board of
perfection.
Engrossment.
Board Bill number 120 and 107.
3rd reading and final passage of Board Bills consent.
Board Bill number 120 and Board Bill number 107. That is the extent of 3rd reading and final passing of board bills consent.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized in the motion to adopt the 3rd reading and final passage of Board Bills consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I move that we adopt the 3rd reading and finally passage of board bills consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we adopt the 3rd reading and final passage of Board Bills on the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cone. Alderman Orion. Alderman Devotie. Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Thank you. Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich. President Green.
Aye.
15 aye votes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 10th to 3rd read and finally pass the aforementioned bills. 3rd reading and final passage of board bills.
We have none.
You can dispense with line item 20, report of the finally passed and signed by the President.
Board Bill 120 and Board Bill number 107.
All other business being suspended, the President shall in open session affix her signature hereto to the end that these may become law. Alderwoman from the 1st, you're recognized on the motion to suspend the rules for the purposes of introducing Resolution 29 for the first reading.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I move to suspend the rules for the purposes of introducing Resolution number 229.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we suspend the rules to introduce Resolution 229 for the first reading of resolutions. This is a non-debatable motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg. Aye. Alderman Cone. Aye. Alderman Narayan. I'm sorry? Thank you. Alderman Devotie. Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Velasquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Aldrich. President Green.
Aye.
14 aye votes, 1 no.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 1st. If you could please place Resolution 229 on the first reading resolution.
So noted.
First reading resolutions in reference to committees.
We have none. I'm sorry. Resolution number 229.
Alderwoman from the 1st, you are recognized on the first reading resolution 229.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. I request unanimous consent on resolution number 229.
Hearing no objection. Oh, there is an objection.
Objection.
Alderwoman from the 1st, you can either suspend the rules or refer to committee.
Due to the timing, I'd like to move to suspend the rules for the purposes of first reading resolution 229.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we suspend the rules, the purposes of adopting resolution 229. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Point of order?
It's a suspension of the rules. It's a non-debatable motion.
Okay, thank you.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg. Aye. Alderman Cone. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Devote. Aye. Alderwoman Velasquez. Aye. Alderwoman Sanye. Aye. Alderwoman Cox Antwi. Aye. Alderman Browning. Aye. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
No.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No.
Alderman Aldrich.
Aye.
President Green.
Aye.
13 aye votes, 2 noes.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 1st. Alderwoman from the 1st, you may now proceed on your motion to adopt the resolution 229.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I move to adopt resolution 229.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adopt resolution 229. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the time today to bring this forward. I was alerted to this along with so many members of this board earlier this week by some of the nonprofits in the city of St. Louis that receive funding from the Solid Waste Management District now. One of those things that they brought up is how this bill in the House would divert funds from so many of the organizations that are doing great work in the city to divert waste from landfills and to educate folks on how to be more sustainable and so many different things, so many organizations affected. Going deeper into it, it's not only that this bill diverts funding from these crucial organizations in the city of St. Louis and all over the state, but that it also preempts the city of St. Louis when classifying landfills, especially around advanced recycling facilities. This is a big problem because it would change the ability for the city of St. Louis, if a landfill came to operate in the city of St. Louis, to be able to effectively regulate those facilities. It would change it from one qualification, which allows a lot more oversight from the city of St. Louis, to something completely different, which allows much less oversight, which is a big concern for me when thinking about the environmental issues that could arise from that change. So those are really the two pieces that this resolution gets to. Again, this is something that was just brought to my attention earlier this week, so I had to learn quickly what this was doing and why it was so important, both to the organizations that are funded by this in the city of St. Louis and also into our ability as a city to appropriately regulate this industry within the city of St. Louis. So thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate any consideration of this resolution as we move to have a position here as a board. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 12th.
Madam President, members of the board, I rise in opposition of passing this board bill out today. Anytime you get something within a week and then you need to send it out, I understand that the Alderwoman from the 1st feels it's a necessity, but I also feel that it's a necessity that we as the members of the Board of Aldermen have full information to make sure what we're doing. This This week, I got calls from people because as our water bill rises yet again, because in less than 30 days, we passed a bill, and the Alderwoman from the first was the sponsor. We passed a bill to continue to raise our water rates, which I thought was very foolish and still do. And so I like to understand what I'm voting for. I might be in support of this. I don't have enough information. This is fully a resolution that should be vetted in committee and talked about. It should not be just, oh, this is what they said and this is what I've learned, and so therefore this should be passed. That's what committees are for, to find out these kind of things, and then just going by people's words. Not going to do much anyway, because we're not going to be able to stop it if they want to, because they have a super majority at both the governor's office and the Senate and the state. But this is something I would like to learn about and not be put on the spot that I should be voting for it because the Alderwoman from the first says she has enough information, because that doesn't give me enough information to vote for it. So I'm opposed to that. And I think these kind of resolutions should always be sent to committee to vet them and to ask questions, to be able to ask questions. I do appreciate the organizations, their need for haste, but haste sometimes make waste. And I've learned that down here after a lot of years, that a lot of times when we hurry up and do something, we end up having to repass the board bill, or it's something that the community is not very happy with, or we didn't get the full amount of information. And I don't have enough information to know enough about it. And I am a recycler and believe in doing the right thing, and sat as the chair of the Streets and Refuge Committee, and also was the vice chair for 10, 15 years and sat on the committee for 20 something years. This would have gone there and we would have vetted it. And so I'm opposed to sending it straight out to the General Assembly, saying that we oppose it without vetting it. For those reasons, I will be voting no. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 7th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I just wanted to rise and speak to this resolution. House Bill 2761 is actively being heard, and if passed, it would strip millions of dollars from many of our environmental and sustainability organizations, including Earth Day 365, that I know many of us are really familiar with. I actually am lucky enough to serve as the Alderwoman to someone highly involved in a lot of sustainability efforts, and serves, I think, as the chair or the president of Earth Day 365, and actually went to the House to testify. And I was able to have a lot of conversation with her, as well as just a lot of concerned residents that I have about this bill. We're obviously not the best in our landfill. We're not the best in our sustainability. But this is, it could be very egregious for our environment, for sustainability organizations, for the individuals who work for these organizations. Earth Day 365 has a lot of programs. There are probably small businesses in a lot of our wards where they have partnerships with to encourage certain, green efforts and sustainability efforts. And so I just want to make sure that I raise to us, what an important issue this is. We only have one Earth, and there's an active effort to get us to do everything we can to defile it and not take care of it. And I also wanted to raise just the urgent sensitivity. I do know from my conversation with Alderwoman Schweitzer that there's been contact made with a lot of the folks in the House who are opposed to this bill, and they did express that this is a help to them if we could get a resolution to kind of say that we support their efforts to be opposed to this, that would be helpful for them as they have conversations at their level. And so I just really wanted to rise today to make sure that I raise the urgency that the bill could strip millions of dollars from organizations that we have in our community that focus on efforts, and that it is a very time-sensitive conversations, because these conversations are going on right now. I'm sure a few of us have residents that have actually went to the House to speak to this matter, and I thank the Alderwoman of the 1st for her efforts on this. Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 13th.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. And I think what the confusion is, I don't think people understand when we rush through things. So I'm asking if we could take this and at least take it to the Health and Human Development Committee to be heard. So, I understand that they're up there now, but it's interesting. Everybody knew about it, but certain people, I didn't know about it until this week. because I was dealing with other things with Jefferson City. So I didn't know about the bill until this week when I got the call from Alderwoman from the first. So I'm just asking if we could just move this to the Health Committee to be heard so we can let other people speak. I'm very for recycling and saving the earth, but I just think that when you rush through things, it's not gonna improve. It's gonna wind up being in haste, and we'll have to go back and adjust things. So that's just my request.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 12th.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, if the Alderwoman from the first would yield.
The Alderwoman from the first yield to the Alderwoman from the 12th? Yes. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Yes, thank you, Alderwoman. So do you know is this bill being heard in committee, or where in the process this bill is?
Yes, it is in the Government Efficiency Committee, and there was a public hearing completed just yesterday. So this is us kind of participating in that information and in that information to the committee and to the House members.
And was it voted out of committee, or is it still in committee there?
That's a good question. I am not sure of the answer right now. The next House hearing is not yet scheduled. There was just the public hearing piece so far.
Okay, so the process of us sending a resolution saying we oppose this would be to try to keep it so that it does not come out of committee?
That would be, my goal is that it doesn't keep moving at all, whether it's out of committee or on the floor of the House, because of the concerns we've heard from the organizations in the city, as well as the preemption issue.
Well, if it doesn't come out of committee, it would never be heard on the floor. So they're like us in that. And do we have any members of our contingency from St. Louis that sit on this committee that you know of?
I believe, let's see, Ray. There were a few people that I recognized the names of when I sent an email opposing it to them. None of them in my area. And then the vice chair of the committee is Michael Burton, who is fairly local. He's just outside of the city.
So no one from the city of St. Louis, but maybe some people in the city of St. Louis metropolitan area sit on the committee.
I'm honestly, I apologize, Alderwoman. There's two people that I believe are city of St. Louis reps. They're just not in my area, so I don't.
Okay. Oh, so they could be city reps from the city of St. Louis.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
You just don't know them.
Yes.
Okay. And so I know sometimes they have things on fast tracks in Jeff City, sometimes they're not. Has there been an indication that this was something that was going to be on a fast track?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So then I don't understand why we wouldn't want to have a hearing to try to bring other people up to speed. I'm not up to speed. I understand you think that you are, but I'm not. And I might be an ally, but I'm not an ally to rushing things. I don't understand this. If it's not on a fast speed. Jeff City just opened up for business for their new session in January, so it couldn't have been much along. It could not have been a piece of legislation that has been pushed along, because if it is, they could have put it on a fast track and it might have been read and then moved out of committee pretty fast, but it's not. So I have found, this is my own opinion and it's my advice from a long time, when we have super majorities like we do now, and when this board has acted, they have smacked us down and they have not gone along with us. And especially when we're rushing it and we don't have all members on board, that is not a good look for us. Even when we've had all members on board, when we've changed the income of what you can make, the minimum wage income, then they came back and took it out of people's pockets. So I don't think this is a state legislature that would care if we sent a resolution, but I sure do care as a member of the Board of Aldermen if I understood more about how it would affect us. And whether this resolution gets passed or not and gets sent to committee and it goes right now, I do think it's a mistake to do it this way without having a hearing on it. Because if you're really trying to show that we're serious about something, then we should be having a hearing on it and opening it up to questions and making sure that we are not hearing from just one side. That gives everybody a chance to present their ideas of what's going on, including asking people from our contingency to come and tell us about it. So I will continue to be a no vote. I'm asking for a roll call. And I think as you will find, it will not help to send resolutions and other things like that without having some proper vetting. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderwoman from the 1st, you are recognized to close.
Thank you, Madam President. I renew my motion.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adopt Resolution 229. There's been a request for roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman,
apologies. Were you up at the mic before the motion? Okay. We will need to then, I think, take back, because we already started to call the roll. So
it's too late.
Yeah, we can't, we can't, now that we started the roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Odenberg. Aye. Alderman Cone. Aye. Alderman Narayan. Aye. Alderman Devote. Present. Alderwoman Velasquez. Aye. Alderwoman Sanye. Aye. Alderwoman Cox-Antwi. Aye. Alderman Browning. Aye. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus.
No.
Alderwoman Boyd.
No.
Alderman Aldrich. Aye. President Green.
Aye.
12 aye votes, 2 noes, and 1 present.
By your vote, you sustain the motion from the Alderwoman from the 1st to adopt Resolution 229. Second reading resolutions, committee reports, and adoptions.
Resolution number 202, introduced by Alderman Narayan.
Alderman from the 4th, you are recognized on the report out of Resolution 202.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Resolution 202 is about the Prop S funds, the public safety dollars that fund various community organizations. Per that ordinance, we don't actually pass that out of the full board. It passes through the Public Safety Committee, and we did pass Resolution 202 out with Exhibit A attached to it, which has the breakdown on what organizations got funded and to the extent that they were funded. And I'm happy to address any questions anyone has, but that's essentially the report.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, miscellaneous and unfinished business.
We have none.
We can dispense with line item 25, announcement.
Monday, February 2nd. We have no meetings. Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, HUD's 11 a.m. in the Kennedy Room. Wednesday, February the 4th, 2026, we have none. Thursday, February the 5th, Personnel and Administration at 11 a.m. in the Kennedy Room. We have a Health and Human Development meeting, 9 a.m. Thursday via Zoom. And Friday, February the 6th, 2026, full board meeting, 10 a.m. in the chambers.
Any further announcements? Alderwoman for the 13th.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. I just wanted to remind everyone that we will raise the flag February the 2nd at 9 a.m., the African American flag. This is the 100-year celebration. And so we have sent invites out to make sure people are aware of it. Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 11th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Just would like to invite everyone to the Wesley House tomorrow for their welcome back celebration. As you may know, the building was severely damaged during the tornado on May 16th. And so they are poised for a great comeback on tomorrow from 10 to 2 p.m. at 4507 Lee Avenue. I look forward to seeing you there. Weather permitting, I'm hoping. Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 7th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I wanted to just acknowledge that today there is a nationwide House Out protest and general strike that is happening to call attention to the current ICE enforcement agencies. I know we have this is a conversation that people all across our city are having. I know there's been false reportings and actual sightings in different places across all of our city. This strike does call for people not to go to work, not to go to school, not to operate their businesses. But I also wanted to actually get on the mic and say that there are a lot of small businesses who cannot afford to close their operation for today. And those businesses are operating, but giving a portion of their proceeds to the MICA project and to organizations who are doing important work to make sure that our residents are safe and protected and are not subject to barbaric, unconstitutional actions by federal enforcement agencies. So I wanted to just go on the record and give a shout out to those businesses, and those businesses are not things such as Flower and Weeds or Rooster on South Grand or other entities. There's also many county businesses that are involving and participating in themselves. So I just wanted to acknowledge this. I know there are people all across our city who have a lot of questions. I know there are a lot of anxiety. I have residents who are scared to go to school, who are scared to go to work. I have business owners who are scared to open doors. And there have actually been also some detainees and folks who are being held unconstitutionally as well. So I just think it's important to speak to that on the record and to really anyone who is plugging into these efforts, whether you are setting things up in your neighborhood, setting things up in your community, whether you are donating to support organizations that are doing it. I know some of us are having MICA Project and organizations at our town hall. And I just want to make sure that I highlight how important it is, because at the end of the day, it really is just us, our job to protect us, and it's us who keeps us safe. So I'm incredibly happy to see the community response, and I pray for constitutional times once again someday.
Alderwoman from the 6th.
Thank you. I would like to announce that we're going to have a legislation and rules meeting on February 10th at 2 p.m.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
Noted.
Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We will have a budget and public employees committee meeting this Wednesday at 10 a.m. to hear Board Bill 126.
Any further announcements? Seeing none, Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to excuse.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. All members were present this morning.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I move that we adjourn until Friday, February 6, 2026, in the Board of Aldermen chambers at 10 a.m.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we adjourn until Friday, February 6, 2026, Board of Aldermen chambers at 10 a.m. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries.